So it looks like the final tier of the Engine of Vengeance HasLab has been revealed, soulmates, but is this one any good, and will it inspire people to go out and back this project? Be sure you stick around until the end, guys, because we're going to talk about what absolutely would have gotten us to back this project, no questions asked. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. Well guys, it looks like the rumors are true, and this tier, the third tier, is the final tier of the Engine of Vengeance HasLab. And which character are we getting for this one? Well, we're getting Daimon Hellstrom. Believe it or not, he actually debuted in Ghost Rider #1 back in 1973, so he's actually not a bad addition to the HasLab project, albeit he is an underwhelming one. It's worth noting that in his earliest appearances, his classic costume was characterized by a cape with a very large collar, and the inside of the cape was yellow, the outside was red. He had the pentagram on his chest drawn in white, and he had a large yellow belt, some red tights, and boots with a couple of little flares out to the side. And of course he had his bracelets, and then he had his pitchfork. He's a very cool character with a whole host of powers that can be represented in action figure form. And speaking of, has he ever had an action figure? Well, I went looking and I couldn't really find anything. The only representation I could really find of him that was close to an action figure was perhaps a HeroClix. But, you know, that's not really the same thing. And, well, that brings us to now, because with the HasLab Engine of Vengeance project, we are getting a Daimon Hellstrom action figure when 11,000 backers have backed the project. Perhaps the most tragic feature of this action figure is that they didn't choose the most iconic representation of him to place in this HasLab project. They chose one that is very boring, and well, I assume they chose that because looking at him here, it's very easy to make that design. This one looks incredibly generic, but let's talk about the positives on this one first. I like the pitchfork. I think the pitchfork looks pretty cool, and the pentagram that they've painted on his chest looks pretty decent. I don't mind it. It looks pretty cool the way that it's kind of just glowing with the paint job that they gave it. And the head sculpt looks pretty good too. I don't mind it at all. If he's going to have only one head sculpt, I think it works for him. And the bracelets work pretty well. They fit more or less what we've seen from the comics. How's the rest of the action figure though? Well, it's another low effort reveal. And is this going to entice people to back the project? I really don't think so, because it's such an underwhelming action figure. It's worth noting though that I think the ab crunch and waist swivel is fine on this one, because of the nature of the pentagram design that goes on his chest there. If he had a torso rocker, I think that design would be disturbed and it wouldn't look as good, but with the ab crunch as it is, it works for the character, so I don't mind that at all here. It's just that for all the designs, for what they could have gone with Daimon Hellstrom, this is what they went with, the absolute bare bones minimum version of the character, and nothing more. I just can't get over that, guys. I mean, this project has already been losing backers hand over fist ever since the early bird special went under, and now this is the last tier. This is the final tier that they're revealing to hopefully save the project, I think, in their eyes. If they were serious about saving this HasLab project and getting people to back it, they would have pulled out all the stops. But we're not seeing Blackheart, we're not seeing any bikes, and those are what people wanted. People wanted to see the motorcycles and they wanted to see Blackheart. But I mean, come on, look at this. The base project is okay, and I mean it's just okay, because the Robbie Reyes action figure that you're getting with it already features some reused parts from Long Shot, so that's not off to a great start already. And then the next tier that was revealed, Mephisto, he was alright. He wasn't like an outstanding version of Mephisto, but he was okay. But then we got to these other two action figures, Daimon Hellstrom and the Goblin Queen, and whoo boy, yeah, they're not great. You can really tell that they were hoping that the fate of this entire project hinged on people wanting Mephisto, but then they revealed a Mephisto that people didn't really want all that badly, and now here we are, and with Daimon Hellstrom the way he is, with this just boring design. I mean, it's so boring. Why? Sure, it's a more modern design, but come on, it's boring. And that's the worst sin that a toy can commit, just being there, existing, and being boring. And this is supposed to entice people to back it, huh? Well, I'm just gonna say right now, I thought this one might have stood a chance, but right now, I've pretty much lost all faith in it getting backed, and I say, you know, this might be the time where we stick a fork in it, it's done. And over the past couple of days on this project, there's been a handful of people coming in to back it, but as soon as this one got revealed, it started losing backers again, and, well, is that any great surprise? I don't know, it's just embarrassing, guys. And speaking of embarrassing, I did notice that during the HasLab presentation, during the live stream, that they were pronouncing his name completely wrong. They didn't even call him by the right name. They called him Damien, and that's not his name. And I was just thinking the whole time that, well, both of them did it. And I was wondering, well, if you're supposed to be representing this brand, shouldn't you know what the name of this character is? Like, it's one thing if one of them gets it wrong, but when both of them get it wrong? Oh, come on, dude. I guess this highlights the bigger issue with Daimon Hellstrom as the third tier of this HasLab, in that he's kind of an obscure character, and he's so obscure that the people presenting the product didn't even really know who he was. Obviously, there were a lot of better choices they could have gone with for the final tier, and a couple of them that come to mind are Carter Slade, that a lot of people have said to me they wanted, and then Blackheart, he's another really obvious one. I really thought that this one still stood a chance because the base HasLab project was alright, and then Mephisto got revealed, and he's a character that people have been wanting forever. People want him probably more than they want the HasLab. It still has a chance, it still has a few days to gain a whole lot of backers, but it needs to gain over 4,000 of them. And that's a lot of backers just to fund the base project. It has to get so many more backers to completely fund the thing and get all the tiers. And is 12,000 backers gonna happen by Halloween night, the end of that night? Is this worth backing now? Well, I really don't think so, because you're not getting a lot of bang for your buck on this one. Of course, some people might be really excited for this character in any way, shape, or form, and for them, maybe it is worth it, but I have a funny feeling that those people are unfortunately in the minority on this one. I really don't feel that there's been enough interest in this project to get it and review it, and well, anyway, it doesn't really look like anyone's gonna be getting it. But you know, as always guys, if you'd like to see me review this, let me know down in the comments and share this video with your friends, and we'll see what happens, but really not making any promises on this one. That's for sure. Well, soulmates, now that we've seen all the tiers for this HasLab project, let's talk about what would have gotten us to back this one without question. And I'm gonna go a little bit off my typical responses here and say that, well, obviously I think Mephisto should have been the early bird special. I think that that one would have been an obvious slam dunk. And then the next tier, the first tier rather, would have been Carter Slade, because I know a lot of people really wanted that one. If they had presented him with his horse, I think that that would have been a really great first tier, and it would have gotten people really excited. And then for the next one, I think I would have done the bicycle for Danny Ketch as well as Johnny Blaze. And I don't know if I would have included the action figures with them, but at the very least, I would have included the motorcycles because people absolutely want those, and it just seems another obvious slam dunk. And then for the final tier of this project, I would have thrown down Blackheart in his classic incarnation with a brand new sculpt based directly off the art of John Romita Jr., and I think that would have been the coup de grace. This one would have been absolutely backed 100%. I have absolutely no doubt on that. You look at all that, guys, and I definitely think that for $350, the value is there, even if it is baked across all the tiers. Well, Soulmates, what do you think of this Daimon Hellstrom tier? Is this one that inspires you to get the HasLab? Were you on the fence, and are you still on the fence, or are you completely uninterested now, or are you backing out? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and be sure you let me know what would have gotten you to back this HasLab absolutely no questions asked. If you're interested in learning more about the Goblin Queen tier of the Engine of Vengeance HasLab, you can check out that video here, Soulmates.